Hello everyone and welcome back to $6 a month 25 slot Bukkit VPS server, purchase and configuration, setup and installation. Today we're going to be going over basically four main things. The first one is how to use things like HTOP to monitor your system performance. The second one is how to copy files and copy folders for backup purposes and such. The third one is how to install plugins, and the fourth one is how to configure plugins. So let's get started with HTOP and using monitoring your system. So say you have a server running, and it's lagging a bit, and so you're like, I want to see what I'm hanging on, whether it's, I'm using all my RAM or my processors are overworked or whatever. I want to figure it out. So you might see on the internet people tell you to type in top, and you'll have this program here, and you'll see load averages, you'll see uptime, you'll see how many users are logged in, you'll see how many tasks are running, and you'll see some of the tasks that are running here. Not all of them, but you'll see some of them, and everything seems like, okay, well, this might be useful. But, however, whether you went with the manual or the automatic installation, it has installed HTOP for you. So if you go HTOP like that, it's a modified version, it's an improved version of top, and it'll allow you to, as you can see, I can maneuver through all the processes with the arrow keys. I can see graphically, how my CPUs are being utilized, how much memory is being utilized, whatever. And right now there's not a Bukkit server running, so it makes sense that I have very low CPU usage and memory usage. However, once I start Bukkit and it has plugins and stuff, you're going to see these numbers jump up and be jumping all around for the CPU, and the RAM's going to stay fairly constant throughout the running of your server, either slowly going up or probably slowly going down in some cases, depending on your server load. So remember, Control Z gets you out of that. And so the second thing, which these three things are going to be much longer than that one, it's probably about 15 minutes or so. The second thing in that is how to back up your Bukkit server. And so if I just do ls here, I'm already in my Bukkit server, so if I cd out, there's my Bukkit server right there. And earlier I had it in my main equivalent to my C drive, my main directory. Now I have it one level buried. It's easier because it's isolated on its own here. However, this works perfectly fine when it's not isolated. It doesn't need to be isolated. It's just easier to see and easier for a tutorial purpose to have it like this. So if I do cp and I do a file and then a destination, it'll copy that file. The same command works for copying a folder, and instead of cp folder, it's cp-r, cp-r, then the server you want to copy and the destination. So Bukkit s backup is our destination, and it's done copying. That was fast. The reason is because, as you can see here, I deleted the world folders, and I'm going to also show you how to do that in just a second. And I'm also going to show you how to use screen, which is really important with setting up a server, because if you don't use screen, then your server is going to randomly shut down and you're going to be like, what the heck? And then you're going to see, oh, I kind of get it now. And then things will start making sense, and then you'll start using screen. So basically, I'm just going to cd into my Bukkit server here again. If I start up, say, /startserver.sh, and server starts up, it's going to generate a new world, so let's get Minecraft launched while it's doing this. This is the really exciting part, seeing what the new world's going to look like. Alright, so server's up. If I just go into here, it's going to be like, here you are. Oh, jungle, nice. First jungle biome spawn I've gotten with this tutorial series. But anyway, so I spawned in this nice little jungle and I almost killed myself. I'm walking around, and I want you to note where I finished standing. For two reasons. Well, I want you to notice two things. One, where I finish standing, so where I stop, and it's going to be over on those reeds there. And the second thing is what block I break near me. And so you'll see I'm going to break these blocks here, and so there's this kind of uncovered dirt, and I'm going to end by standing in these reeds. And so you might be like, alright, well that was cool, I got my Minecraft server up, today was a good day, and you just close this window because you're like, alright, don't need to be connected to the server anymore, boom. Whoa, what? Disconnected by server. The server is closed? What? No, I just closed the window. That shouldn't have closed my server. The thing is, the way by default SSH works is it doesn't multiplex connections. I think multiplex is the right word. It doesn't separate connections between computers and processes and stuff it ties them to the window. So if I'm running something in this window, say I'm running HTOP or Minecraft server or something, and I close it, the server says, oh, I don't need to be running this process anymore, and it stops running the process, which in most cases is perfectly fine. Generally, you're not going to be closing whenever you close a window, it's going to be, you're doing some process like checking up on your server, uploading a file, or whatever, and you don't really need it open anymore. But there are certain times when you really do want it to stay open after you close that window. You want that session to keep running on the server, just like the server had that window like on the physical server, like on a GUI. Just as that would work, you'd want it to be running here even when you close this window. You'd want that window to be virtualized over there. So the way you do that is you use screen. So by just typing screen, I get my own isolated session here, and whatever I do here is disconnected or disassociated or dissociated from this SSH window. So whatever I do here, closing the SSH window won't stop it from running. So I'm going to cd into my Bukkit server again, and I'm going to do /start server, and the server's going to start up, and start server.sh. Forgot the sh. And it's going to start up, and everything's going to be all cool. Once it creates the spawn area. And you'll notice even something like the spawn area setup didn't even save on the last one because of that quick shutdown. It didn't realize it was going to shut down, so it wasn't saving everything to a file. So then when it shut down, it's like, whoop, just lost all your data. So you got to make sure you don't do that. Instead, you have to gracefully stop it with a command like stop. And then it'll gracefully shut down and save everything and be all good. And so I'm going to start it again. And just as kind of a proof of concept, show you that closing this window won't stop the server from running. So I'm just going to log in here, and I'm here. And you'll see I am on these reads because I probably hit it at a good time when it was saving player data. However, these blocks around me that I broke are not broken. Oddly enough, I have them in my inventory though. What the heck? So obviously you get some weird glitches when you stop a server ungracefully. Sometimes players won't be in the same position, sometimes they will. Sometimes items duplicate, sometimes they don't. Sometimes items completely disappear in inventories. Sometimes whole inventories are wiped. Sometimes chunks of the world reload. You get all kinds of errors when you stop a server not gracefully, so stop early, stop often. No, but make sure you stop your servers gracefully. So say I close this window, and I'm still playing my Minecraft server, everything's going good. The process running the Minecraft server didn't close, so everything seems perfectly fine, right? And everything is. But what if I now want to get back to that session? Well, I just closed the window. I mean, how do I call it back up? If I start the server again, it's just going to complain that I don't have the port bound. If I reboot my server, it's going to complain that I reboot it ungracefully by screwing with everything. So how do I get back to that session? Say I need to gracefully stop that session, or want to stop it and install plugins, or stop it to do a backup, or whatever. And that's a very common thing that a person will want to do. So let's just connect again. So we close the window and we're making an entirely new connection. This connection is totally unrelated to the previous one because the screen was not bound to either window. So if I do ls, everything is still here. If I do screen-ls, that is basically the equivalent of the ls command but on screen. It lists the current screens running, and it'll tell you whether they're detached or attached. And a detached screen is one that's not currently attached to a window, and that doesn't mean bound to a window. When the window closes, it just detaches from that window, but it means I can't currently access it. I can resume it, however. Screen r794.pts0.test, and then there I am back into that screen that I closed the window on again. And it's all saved, the session's still going just fine. So now I can go in and do a graceful stop. And now the server will be closed, but everything will have been saved from the graceful shutdown. So, those were two important things I wanted to mention. The next important thing is installing plugins. So if I'm going to cd in my plugins directory, I'll be where I need to be for installing plugins. But just as a real quick thing, you get plugins from bukkit.org, and you click on Get Plugins, and then you type the plugin you want, or you look for it here, or you go to Fun, and you go to page 17, and you scroll to the middle, and you close your eyes, and you click on something here, and oh, I didn't even click on something, and then you download that and install it. But generally, people are either going to know what they want, or are going to research it before they install it. So let's just say I want Essentials. Essentials is a very widely used plugin that does a lot of cool stuff. So I'm just going to download Essentials for this example. So I'm going to click on Download Essentials Core, and it's going to download it right here. Now I can close this. I really don't care that I downloaded it to my computer, and later I'm probably going to go back and delete that. But if I go to Chrome History, I can find, Chrome Downloads, I can see where all the things I downloaded are. And I can right click and go to Copy Link Address, and I can paste it in. And now if I go back to here, I can see what the direct link is. Now you may be saying, hey, why couldn't I just go right here and right click and do copy? It's because that gives me a shortened link with Essentials. It's like a tiny url.cc or something, which is not the direct link, and so wget works better when it has a direct link like this. So wget cloud.github.com downloads essentials with a capital E, essentials with another capital E, 2.9.5.zip. Long name, and it gives me an error that I'm forbidden. And the reason is because I didn't put an S here. And then everything works nicely. So ls, and I have this essentials zip file, and you'd never guess the command for unzipping. Ready? Unzip. Essentials 2.9.5. That's one thing that's very intuitive about Linux. The unzip command unzips. It's amazing. So anyway, I unzip and it says, cannot find or open essentials 2.9.5.zip. It's because I again forgot my S because I have no typing ability today. So if I ls again, you'll see 5 jar files here plus our original zip file. RMF, remember, remove file if that helps you remember it. Essentials 2.9.5.zip, because I no longer need the zip file. I have all the jar files here. I can ls and the jar files are here. However, you don't see any folders for configuration for them yet. So I need to cd out and start the server real quick. And once I start the server is going to tell all the plugins in the plugins directory, hey, want to start up? And the plugin's going to be like, yeah. It's going to start up, and then it's going to be like, hey, want to make any files? You don't have any? And the plugin's going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. And it's going to make a folder, and inside it's going to put configuration files and stuff. And while plugins do differ in how they're configured, the general idea and location are pretty much the same. Some things will require special things like a MySQL database or some kind of modified H2 database or whatever, so you'll have to attend to those on an individual basis for plugins. But in general, plugins will have their own folder. Remember, deep blue is a folder, and so we can cd into it. And then let's say we want to edit worth.yml. Worth.yml is a folder of all the values for items in the server, where users can type /cell and then an item, or /cell hand and then whatever's in their item is sold at that rate. So let's go in and let's edit TNT, add an extra 0. So TNT, I always have a hard time finding TNT for some reason. I always screw it up. I bet you anything I passed it. Nope, no I didn't. There it is. Ha, I feel good. Alright, so I'm going to just change that to 1000.0. Don't really need the 0.0. Then I'm going to press Ctrl-X to exit, and then Y for yes, to save modify buffer, then Enter to confirm the name. And ls, and everything's still there. So let's cd out 2 directories, and do start server.sh, and we'll start the server up. And now that we have essentials, let me just make sure I'm op. Now that we have essentials and I'm opt and everything seems all good and happy, then I can join my server and make sure that essentials is working. So if I do, let's wait till it loads, plugins like that, it's going to tell me what plugins I'm currently running. If you install Essentials Group Manager, then no one has permissions to the plugins command by default, so you have to give that to them in a permission node. Same with a lot of other group managers, they don't automatically give permissions for a lot of things, so you have to add them in. Even things that seem intuitive, like admins being able to see what plugins are installed, even that sometimes isn't configured properly, so you have to do that. But anyway, that's the basics for configuring installing and configuring plugins for your Bukkit server. This is the end of this series. However, I'll probably redo this series at some later point in time when future versions of Bukkit come out. That way I can, again, have another series that's using keywords that people would be looking up. Because obviously if people are trying to set up a 1.5 server, they're not going to be looking for how to set up a 1.4 server. And also deals on VPSs and stuff may change. So I'll be readdressing the situation at a later date and time. But for now, this tutorial is over. If you have any questions, need any help, have any, what about blank, or how would I do blank, or do you know how to do blank, or anything like that, just leave it as a comment below and I'll try to help you with that. And thank you for watching.